Welcome to the show. This is Mind the Gap. I'm one of your hosts, Darius, aka Bucky Superplate Johnson.
Again, ridiculous. Oh, it's your boy TK, aka the ex Akoski member from the land hitting in the 808s. Check out your boy. It's the last Achiha, the third eye Achiha.
I see you, Playboy.
That's why I met with it, man.
Heat.
I had to come with it, man.
From the land hitting in the 808s.
Hey, land hitting in the 808s.
I like that, though.
Mm-hmm. Third eye Achiha, yeah.
All right, today we will be talking about outrage culture and its effect on society. But before we get in that, we have some business we need to handle. Make sure you follow us on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at PODMTG. Make sure you check our podcast episodes out on iTunes, Spotify, what else we on? SoundCloud, Pinterest.
Patreon.
Stitcher, and make sure you follow us on Patreon so you can gain access to bonus episodes, discount on merch, and we got some more stuff coming in the pipeline.
And shout-outs.
Shout-outs. Make sure you get your shout-outs so you can get your credit for supporting us.
Most definitely.
And make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on our YouTube videos. So
subscribe now. Hit the bell.
Right. So, where you want to begin?
Outrage culture, I do not like it. Not a fan of it.
Why not?
It creates a dynamic of us versus them. So when you create a dynamic of us versus them, there's no civil discourse there. There's no room to be diplomatic and say, it's like a outrage culture. It's like I'm forcing you to think like I think.
Yeah.
I mean, in a lot of cases, some people should be. In some cases, there should be outrage.
I agree with that. I mean, I'm not exactly for it, but it's more so I understand where it's coming from. At least on one side. I think a lot of times I think you say in the liberal side, they more so forcibly think how we think.
They like,
otherwise we're gonna get you canceled.
Yeah. They like mental bullies.
Right.
Right. They like my bad. They like social media bullies. Right. You feel what I'm saying? To the extreme.
Which is,
you know what I'm saying? Then you most like a lot of times to the extreme is the ones that get the most attention.
Yeah.
And the ones that get the most done, just the extreme, like our president. He's an extreme of
so he gets the biggest reaction.
Yeah. So therefore that's why
he's jumping out the window.
Foolishly. But it's funny to see how this outrage culture is really imploding on itself.
Right.
Coming down.
I agree with that.
And then the sad part about it, what I'm saying, like I mentioned earlier, those would be the same grounds that implode. The ruins of this implosion is where we will still stand on. These will be our foundation as Americans. That's what we do. You know what I'm saying? Especially as Americans, we'll have ruins and don't want to rebuild or come up with a new concept of thinking, or
rather just build up on that already shaken foundation.
If not even build, just find better standing ground. You know what I'm saying?
Just stand there and point down.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's not even we okay with it. We when we talk about going down with the ship, we go down with the ship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And we go down hard.
And okay with it.
And flames.
And see it from the beginning. And
That's
we can have
crazy.
all type of ways to fix it.
We really will just stand our ground until everybody dies instead of just or we just wait till it's like two people left and then
we can talk now. We can talk.
We can talk now. I think that's interesting what you said, because in terms of it's imploding on itself and doing more harm to itself than helping, it's like when you just cancel people or you just bully people in submission, you just think how you think, that doesn't really change anything, because it's really through conversation that people can really understand your side and come to agree with you. But if you just you go to the side, that eliminates the opportunity for civil discourse and real understanding.
And I told you earlier, you know what I'm saying, people get to the point where they fear to say something than to understand why not to say something. And when you in that area, which one would you rather be? The person that fear not to say nothing, because you still don't understand. There's no understanding going.
At least you can be safe and operate in the world, even though you're not speaking
Yeah, you still carry your ignorance or your misunderstanding. But if you understand why you shouldn't say something, or you understand why what you're doing is wrong, or even have the understanding I believe this and you believe that, I don't think this is wrong, I'm gonna continue to do this. My thing is always understanding. And when you put fear in people from actually learning or expressing, you take away from that their ability to understand.
Right.
And when you do that, you create more enemies than you do allies. Because now I'm just a person, I don't want to fool with none of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to understand. I'm going to go over here and do this. So when you create that, I think that's also a problem. Mm-hmm. You create more enemies than allies or people that don't want to deal with you regardless of the situation.
And that's more so going to affect, because a lot of people are more so in the middle, and they just kind of watching everything. And I think, to your point of like, I think it harms like each movement. Like if you like, because if you're not aware, what's the example we saw on Joe Rogan with Amy Siscon and David Pakman? David Pakman has a progressive show. He's seen as a progressive and a liberal. And Amy Siscon is also a progressive and a feminist. Mm-hmm. And she tweeted out, what was it?
She tweeted out that she's not voting for any white
males anymore. Mm-hmm. And David Pakman simply stated that what she said was both sexist and racist, which is on the nose.
On the nose. That's accurate.
It's accurate. So that's she jumped out the window with that one, and she started going back at David Pakman, and she blocked him, and then she tried to get him banned from a college that he was supposed to speak at. That's like not helping
her cause.
Yeah, her cause, or the overall cause of you trying to move forward progressive, and you trying to sabotage each other.
Because at that point, again, like we say, it's like you become an extremist, right. And then it's easy to point at the extremists as the overall view of that whole movement.
Right. So now people are saying feminists, like that's how they all are. They all crazy, don't make sense. Not. Now they saying that's how progressives are. None of them make sense.
And I don't like that. And that's that's I don't like. You don't try to use that one entity of a person or doing that and make it represent as a whole.
Right.
But you as a person, with anything, whether it be politics or anything in the world, you have to be strategic about the things that you say and do.
Right.
So you knew when you said that. I don't know if she knew or not. But once she was confronted by my man saying that, she should say, you know what, let me take a step back and let me think.
And if she could have, like, honestly, if that's how she feel, because a lot of times I think there's unjust and just outrage. Because, like, on the liberal side, I can understand it. Like, for most people, they're just fighting for equality. And just some people take it a step too far.
Yeah, you be like, come on.
So I can understand it. Like, if you are looking at the presidency, all you see is white male, white male, white male, white male, white male. I can understand why you say, hey, I'm not going to vote for that anymore. Let me see if I can find some. Even though I think you should just vote for whoever's, like, best qualified, I can understand where you're coming from. Yeah. It's just that the step further she took was like that was over the line. And even so, like even her own people, even her own followers and followers of David Pakman, like, you bugging, like you need to chill out.
But see, the thing with that outrage culture is that to be outraged is like that feeling is addictive. You know what I'm saying? See, when you on the internet, you typing all that, it creates a fight or flight mode sometimes, and it did get
a lot of attention.
You know what I'm saying? So it creates a fight or flight mode, so you get adrenaline, and then you get like type, and that feeling it's addictive, and with that addictive feeling, you're not thinking straight. Right. So you think you're on some higher moral ground than what you really are.
Of course, everybody's gonna ride with me. I wouldn't vote for them either.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because that goes to what you said, the people in the middle, and those people become group thinkers. So they're not really thinking for themselves. So they just own to like, oh, this she usually right, or she usually for me.
Then of course she might be right.
And then when you go back to the us versus them, this is us. So I'm just gonna ride this ship out because on this is the side that I think is for me, instead of saying, hey, you driving into a glacier, or hey, you know what I'm saying, you taking us around the wrong path. It creates a illusion of things, and it's like a layer of things. It's a whole layer of things that it creates when a person does that, or when people have that feeling, and you're not thinking straight because you think you're on some higher moral ground than everybody else, or what you're saying is right, or you have more power than somebody else, and then you just speaking whatever you feel at the time instead of logically thinking about it.
Because a lot of times, like in her case, either she's addicted to that, or she just thought it was gonna like go the way she planned or whatever, or like a lot of times I have to think, are these people who are say like outlandish statements like that, are they just trying to garner attention for themselves and just take advantage of outrage culture, even though when they might not even be like for that movement? Like somebody can step in and call themselves a feminist or a progressive or a social justice warrior or whatever and say something crazy just to jump in the fray, say something crazy, get attention, and then they can back off. Like on some Miley Cyrus shit, trying to get black culture, and then they just jump out like when they feel like it. So I have to, when I see stuff like that, I have this like, what's your credentials? Like, are you really about this life? Like, what's going on? Because you could just be a plant for like the other side or something.
See me, I have to wait. I wait. I don't care about your credentials or anything, because if I look at your credentials, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm thinking, I need to know your mindset. Because if you got too many credentials, like this is, I hope this is like
I need to see
how
consistent your
track record. And then even in that moment, you know what I'm saying? You could have just had a bad. That's something else. I don't like that neither with outrage coaches. Somebody can have a bad moment in time and just you know, and I think you should take a lot more time. When it comes down.
You should really, especially with a platform like that. You should like, how is that going to impact not only like my movement but like overall culture as a whole?
Yeah, but in those moments, but I don't like when people sometimes have a bad moment in time and they let something slip out. They say something, or like have somebody that like. They look back 15 years and they Twitter account and be like, "Oh, you said this back in."
Bro, I got some stuff on my Twitter.
Yeah, bro.
College, I was like the stuff I used to say in college. Like I repost my stuff just in case so we can get ahead of it. Like the stuff I used to say in college was so outlandish that I can't even verify that I wrote it. I am so far removed from who I was in college. I'm like, what?
I be looking at that shit. I be like, who's this weak ass guy that was posting this stuff, man? I don't know this guy.
Like, who is this guy?
So that's what I'm saying. Like, somebody can have that back in the day, and then they'll call that person out, and then be like, you know what I'm saying? Look at this. He said this, but like, man, he's not that person no more.
Yeah.
Again, that's the illusion that you have. You on some more high ground. Because let's look back in your past. Let's look back on what you did.
Did you see? I believe it was an incident like that. I think it was with the guy who held up like a Budweiser sign and like he act like Snapchat for like charity or something.
Yeah.
And then
I believe
and then he got all this money to go to charity. And then like a newspaper like went in his background, and then they was like he said some racist stuff back then. So the advertisers like, well, we're gonna match it, the money and stuff like that. Like with Budweiser and all that, but he's like, they started pulling off. Yeah. So the man was doing something good. Something got brought up from his past, and then all of a sudden it was a problem to associate with him.
Yeah.
And then with some type of karmic justice, the dude who wrote that article about it, he went back in his past, found some racist stuff in there, and then he got fired.
I don't like that.
So when that was like when it got turned on you, then it was like
nah. That's when you sit and shut up. You know what I'm saying? Like
you should just let that man be.
But I don't like that though. That man's not who he was, especially if like it's like a decade ago. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dang, was it that went last week? Yeah. You know what I mean?
And like a lot of times when people pull this stuff up, people are like teenagers or like just
foolish
and coming into adulthood.
It's like you sure that man still think that? So what you saying? What this society saying that you can't change? You are who you was 15 years ago.
Kind of eliminates the opportunity for redemption
or growth
and to do good.
And people got to realize, like sometimes outrage in a lot of situations is not an instrument of fixing the situation. It's sometimes an instrument of like it's an instrument of shame and like basically shame and embarrassment. Yeah. And sometimes like with a lot of people, they'll double down on what they said or think. It's not in those so much situations, but like in the situation of the old girl when she said, I'm not voting for a white male. Yeah, she doubled down. I don't care what y'all say. I'm saying this instead of having a conscious conversation, saying, hey, this is why you shouldn't say this, because if the roles was reversed, you would be upset about that. And I don't like that, man. I think, and it takes away from us as a culture being able, like especially in America, like we built on diversity, we built on having different ideas and different races and cultures and stuff like that. You have to have a understanding that just because I don't agree with you, that don't mean I'm against you.
Right. We don't have it.
We don't have that no more. It's that same ruin that we walking on. That same ruin that we walk on. Sensitivity.
I don't know. If we ever had it. I think we as Americans, maybe in history, have just always been sensitive in one way or another. And I don't think people, because from what I see, only time we change is when we have to, which I think is the real problem. Because discourse can only happen like if we go to war, civil war. Now everybody died, now everybody dying, and like I said, when there's two of us left, we can have this conversation.
Like it had to be a winner, instead of having like words can save nations, fam. Like you can sit down and have a conversation about something and be like, you know what, I see it on your side. Yeah. But can we come to an agreement? Can we come to something like, hey man, this is wrong.
At least some type of understanding.
Do you understand this? And then after that, if we all disagree, then we can go to war. Right. Once that happens,
but we want to go to war. We want to win the war
off jump.
EV start,
especially if it's profitable. Yeah, we want to do it off jump. So I mean, I get it. And then something else, like the fact that we're becoming more and more desensitized to the outrage culture, it's gonna hurt in the long run when it's time to be outraged about something that's serious.
Legitimate, because that's legitimate outrage. That because outrage can also be used to when you actually need to bring attention to something important. Yeah. But now when somebody brings something up, you tweet about it for a couple of days, it's hot. And then we all know it's gonna fade away.
Yeah, it's like it's a same saga. It's like anger, then it's
7 stages of grief.
Yeah, it's like it's like a thing like that for outrage on social media. It's the same, but it's the same thing for anything. Right, like it's the same thing when one of the Kardashians did the Pepsi commercial about black people outraged and then
solving racism. With Pepsi.
And then the same thing if it was like genocide in Uganda, and it's the same thing when when somebody had like a bad date or something, you know what I'm saying?
What we need to be continually outraged about is what's going on in Sudan.
Yeah. And I heard this dude, he said, I listened to this guy, he said, when you highlight everything, you essentially highlight nothing. You know what I'm saying? So that's what outrage it is doing now. Right. We highlighting everything to the point where it's like nothing.
It lacks focus.
Yeah.
The outrage lacks focus.
It lacks precision. Like you have to have a sniper's mentality with this. You have to hit the target. So I don't know, man. I think
you got if you're gonna announce something, you need to have a plan behind it, and you need to focus on it, and you need to get it done, so we can move on to the next.
You also got to see all angles of it. You got to make sure, like, am I wrong? Is this person wrong? Because I think that's also what outrage does. Because in my mind, I'm so morally right when it comes down to looking at somebody else's perspective. It's like, am I wrong too? Right. Like, that's outrageous what you're saying, but you got to sit and think like, is it outrageous on what I'm saying?
I think any good dialogue, you have to come into it like actually with an open mind. Like I understand people come in with their perspective, but you have to come in with like, I might not know what I'm talking about. Like I might need to just listen.
I might need to sit back and
just absorb what's going on. Another thing I found interesting, how like each side uses like outrage, because I don't like that. Liberals get a lot of flack. Like the left gets a lot of flack for outrage culture. But I can understand where the outrage comes, because it comes from some nature of like people wanting equality or they feel disenfranchised, but it's just they go too a step far. But a lot of times on conservative,
they almost damn near just as bad.
Yeah, and they call like conservative outrage. They be like, these are snowflakes and all this other stuff. But then like the problem with conservative outrage is it seems the sides are like traditional. Like we want to keep these traditional values versus we want equality and we want things to change so they're better for everybody.
Yeah, I know, I get it.
And then, but the outrage I see on conservative outlets and news and Twitter feeds is always like not substance. Like they're not about anything.
They're not about nothing.
They're outraged over the president wearing a tan suit.
I was talking about that yesterday.
Or like people saying we can't say suit. Like Merry Christmas or something. Like nobody said.
Or who was mad about them damn coffee cups?
I don't remember that one.
You remember it was Starbucks when they changed the coffee cups.
Oh yeah,
they changed it like it like the green or red. Yeah, I was like,
it's like they make everything an attack on like tradition. Like, oh my God, I can't believe they're like doing this.
Michelle Obama, her arms out, but the president now can have a whole, you know what I'm saying? Porn. Was she a porn star? Oh, she
model.
She modeled or something. Yeah. But then, you know what I'm saying, you do something like that.
But the things they should be outraged is the kids getting ripped away from their parents at the border. But they not outraged about anything like that.
All this oil in the Gulf.
This tan suit is destroying the nation. That's why I don't understand.
Then bring up the fact that, you know what I'm saying, he was bombing people with the drones and nothing like that. That'll be, if you're outraged about that, then we can have a conversation.
That's a conversation.
But you mad about the fact that he wore a tan suit, fam. That was a nice ass tan suit.
That was bad.
That was bad. That was a discussion I had yesterday.
That was fly.
We was discussing this. I was like, that was a badass suit.
Yeah.
I told somebody, if I get shot, I want to get shot in something like that. Take me out in that. I want to
go out in something like that.
Yeah, take me out in that. So yeah, conservative, they outrage over things like, I agree with you, over things that doesn't like
they lack substance. Like it's like they have to make up something to be offended about.
But they have
they make themselves the victim.
But they have strategically found a way to push that narrative. No matter what that's what amazes me about that. It could be about nothing, but they can find a way to push it so much that
people are like, let
me get behind that.
Yeah, like that's amazing.
How you still watching?
Because I think the conservative use it in a way of like propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna weaponize this piece of outrage. It doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
We just use it to,
I
get
think
people, enrage people and get people on our sides.
And I think like Democrats, it's just they too sensitive, and it's almost everything to a point that they don't know how to make it their point strong because there's so many different avenues. There's
There's so many fights.
Yeah, like conservatives, they come together.
Yeah,
they all came together with the tan suit.
Yeah,
like it was one thing. Like we got 1 point, fam. But I think when it comes down to like Democrats, it's not
concise.
It's not forceful neither. Yeah. Well, it's not forceful in the way like they do it, where it's all one person, all one thing.
Yeah, and
it's more. It comes from a place of like a sensitive place. Like it doesn't have a strong backing. Like even with the tan suit, it was like a strong back. He was like, "How is this strong? Why is it still making noise?"
They united together.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not a fan of outrage.
I think that may be because a lot of times the things that we're outraged about on maybe like progressive side is so nuanced that you might not have all the same opinion. But if you going after somebody because they did a salute with a cup of tea in their hand, they own that.
Yeah,
together. Like there's no nuance in that. We can ride it. Yeah, he disrespected troops because he saluted. They'll get on that. Yeah. That's one of their standard points. We do not go against the troops.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like these issues and like just her saying that, I understand the nuance behind it. Like all we've had mostly is like white leaders, and that you want to change. There's nuance behind that. So some people are with it, some people are not. Some people saying you need to chill out. You need to come with something better. Like, so it's hard to get on the same page when the conversation itself has so many layers to it, which makes this side harder because it's like so much going on.
It comes down to it to me. Progressives don't know how to win.
I agree.
I agree.
I mean, look at the last 4 years.
Yeah, I don't think they know how to win.
We need to come together on something and realize
and stand on it,
and not divide each other. Because I think this type of rhetoric, the outrage is dividing the nation, not in like the way like you might hear like conservatives say like divide the nation. It's divide the nation because we're feeding like these two extremes, and and people are just going to
that us versus them shit. You know what I'm saying? So and then no matter what side you're on, I'm on this side, and this side has to be right when they speak. Instead of saying, "Hey, that was wrong. Yeah. This was wrong." Oh, I don't believe that. No, I think he messed up. No, he was right. Or trying to look at all angles to the point that where you try to find the holes in it to say, well, it was right because of this small thing here or this small thing here. Like you try to find, pinpoint like things where the person was right in that conversation or right in that sentence or right in that action, but the overall thing is wrong.
Yeah.
So.
My thing is, I'm fine with outrage
in its purest form.
In its purest form, as long as it's used for the right reasons and you're earnest in your outrage.
I'm not. I'm just find something new.
Find something new.
Find something new. This is getting out. Y'all know, blunted this knife out. You know what I mean?
It has no edge to it.
No. This is a butter knife at this point. Yeah, y'all gonna have to find something else.
Yeah.
Or reinvent it. That's gonna be something else. But that's why I'm at with it.
Something's coming. Anything else we got?
Make sure we record.
Oh, we recording.
All right.
But if you have any thoughts, feel free to share with us. Make sure you leave some comments in the bottom. Make sure you like and share our video. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Again, make sure you follow us on social media so you can reach out to us and keep in touch at PODMTG. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Make sure you subscribe to us on Patreon. Become a patron, get your shout out, and you can receive bonus content, discounts on merch, and we got some other stuff coming for you. And check out our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, what else? Stitcher, SoundCloud, yeah. But Pinterest. We should just make a Pinterest just for the hell of it.
Just for it. Nah, we should have just did. See if they find it. You know what I mean? We should have just
start posting like revolutionary stuff or something.
Yeah.
We can talk about the giveaway. We want to say that.
Save the giveaway.
Save the giveaway. Okay. Are we gonna have a sign off? We want to do.
Nah.
Do it at the same time.
Oh,
Mind the gap.
Nah, that shit corny. Yes.
If you have any suggestions,
hit us up,
like
man.
if you like what you want to see us, how you want to our sign off to go, let us know.
Yeah, man, we working on it, man. Yeah, we struggling with this, man. It's been.
But thank you for watching the show.
Thank you for watching the show, and always while you out there, mind the gaps.
All of it. Your boy is fucking up out here.
So we didn't even get our names.
I ain't get shit.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that twice, man.
I believe in you.
I believe in myself.